This video is to show you how to insert new columns and how to use formulas in those columns to get useful information from your raw data. So to insert a new column, you can insert it anywhere in your workbook. You want to look at the two columns that you want your new column to sit between. You want to select the right hand of those columns. So when you insert a new column, it'll go just before where the column you have currently selected is. So if we right click here on column M and go down to insert, you can see it will insert a new column next to where column M was. We want to call our new column the number of days between detection and depopulation. When you insert a new column, the cells of that column will be formatted the same way that the column to the left is. So column L has a custom date format and column M currently also has a custom date format. So we'll go and change that in a minute. So what we want is the number of days between the date of detection and the date of depopulation. So mathematically, that's the date of depopulation minus the date of detection. So we type equals, that tells Excel it's about to be a formula. Then we can select the cell that we want to work with. So with the date of depopulation minus the date of reporting. And then if you press enter, it will give you the number of days between. As we said, you can see that this is a date number. So if we select the whole column and then right click and go to format cells, then you can choose number and reduce the number of decimal places to 0. That'll make sure that you get an integer. If you then press OK, you can see that we've converted that date into an integer. And because we had the whole column selected when we did it, we've done the same thing to all of the cells in that column. The other place you can see how the cell is formatted is here in the number component of the Home tab on the ribbon. Now you can copy the formula from that cell into other cells in that column by using the little black box on the bottom right hand corner of the cell when you have it selected. So if we grab that little black box, we can drag it down and you see that that formula has been copied into the other cells. Excel has a thing called relative cell referencing, and what that means is that when it looks at this formula and then copies it to the next cell, it keeps the relative positions of the input cells to the new cell that you've copied it to. So you can see that it's calculating for each row the value for that row. So if we want to then fill the whole rest of this column for all of the rows with this formula, again, go to the bottommost cell that you've got the formula in, find the little black box at the bottom and then double click it, and it will fill all of the rows that have data with the formula that you're looking for. So you can see now we've got the number of days between detection and depopulation for all of these rows. If we use the filter tool, we can have a look at what values we're getting for the number of days. You can see that there's some here that are very large negative numbers, some that are small negative numbers, and some that are positive numbers. So if we have a look at these large negative numbers, we can see if they seem to be valid or if there seems to be a particular reason why it's throwing large negative numbers. So we'll filter and just have a look at those, and we can see that we have no date of slaughter values for these properties. And so these large negative numbers are arising because of how Excel sees a date and the fact that the formula looks at this cell minus this cell, and this cell doesn't have a value. We might want to remove these values because we can see that they're not valid. If we clear the filter, then we can have a look and see that we've only got mostly positive numbers and the occasional negative number. It's difficult for us to be able to verify whether these negative numbers are true and properties were reported as infected the day after they were depopulated, or whether these are invalid. We can't validate those negative numbers, and so we're going to have to leave them in. So again, this property was depopulated on the 12th, apparently was reported on the 23rd, so there was negative 11 days between reporting and depopulation, but we have no way to say whether there was really an event that happened that caused for that number to be negative 11, so we're going to have to leave it in. So that's how you add a new column and then use a formula to derive interesting information from the raw data you've been given.